Once upon a time in the quiet African town of Oti, lived a bright, quick-witted girl named Joy. At just 11 years old, she was already known as the pride of the town. Her teachers praised her brilliance, her classmates admired her confidence. But no one loved her more than her father, Peter, a traveling trader who often called her "my princess." Peter was a kind-hearted man, but his business kept him on the road for long stretches. Knowing Joy needed support in his absence, he hired a private lesson teacher named Mr. Frank, a man with a stiff smile and an appearance that seemed trustworthy at first glance. At home, Joy's mother, Linda, was known for her beauty and vibrant presence at social events. She wore fine clothes, painted her face with bright colors, and was often seen dancing at parties late into the night. But within the walls of their home, her laughter and warmth were seldom felt. Joy, despite her brilliance, longed for something far simpler: her mother's attention, a caring word, or just a hug. One afternoon, as Peter prepared for another journey, he reminded Mr. Frank of his trust. "Teach my daughter well. She is my pride." Mr. Frank nodded solemnly. But when Peter left, things at home began to take a darker turn. Linda became even more distant. Most nights, she left before sunset and returned after dawn. Joy often stayed up, hoping for a chance to talk to her, but sleep would eventually claim her tired eyes. One night, she tried to fight it. She dipped her feet in ice water, whispering to herself, "Tonight, I'll tell Mama everything." But Linda never came home. The next morning, her bed lay untouched. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a warm afternoon, the sky thick with clouds as if it too sensed something wrong. Mr. Frank arrived for Joy's lesson. The house was silent. Linda had gone out again. Joy sat at the table, working on math problems while Mr. Frank watched from across the room. "Let's take a break," he said suddenly. Joy, thinking they'd have a snack, followed him to the kitchen. As she reached for a bowl, she heard the quiet click of the door locking behind her. She turned around slowly, her heart starting to race. "Mr. Frank, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling. He stepped closer, his expression darkening. "Don't scream," he whispered. "If you tell anyone, I'll make sure you fail all your exams. They'll send you away." Frozen in fear, Joy could barely move. And there, in the kitchen where she had once learned how to bake cookies with her mother, her life changed forever. When he left, Joy remained on the floor, her small body trembling, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. She wanted to scream, but her voice was lost somewhere deep inside her. That night, when Linda finally came home, Joy ran to her. "Mama, I need to talk to you. It's about the lesson teacher." But Linda didn't let her finish. "Joy, stop making excuses. You just don't want to study. Always looking for a way out. Mama, please. Enough." Linda snapped and disappeared into her room. Joy stood in the hallway, feeling like a bird with broken wings. That night, her pillow caught her tears, and her cries echoed into the darkness. Days passed. Mr. Frank kept coming. Joy stopped speaking during lessons. She stopped smiling. Her grades fell. Her teachers noticed the change but didn't know why. At night, she would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, praying for her father to come home. And then, one evening, Peter returned. He walked up to the house, his heart full of excitement, his arms full of gifts. But as he reached the door, he heard a noise, a scream, sharp and filled with terror. Dropping his bags, he kicked open the door and rushed in. What he saw stopped his heart. There, in the living room, Mr. Frank was forcing himself on his daughter. Peter's world crashed around him. "Joy," he roared, his voice thunderous. Mr. Frank jumped, scrambling off the child like a frightened animal. Panic seized him. He dashed to the window and leapt out, but landed badly, his leg twisting in a grotesque angle. Peter followed. He grabbed Mr. Frank by the collar and dragged him back into the house. Rage pulsed through his veins. "You touched my daughter. You dare. Please. I thought no one would know," Mr. Frank whimpered. "She was always alone. I'm sorry." Peter's fist clenched. But instead of beating the man senseless, he dragged him into the town square. A crowd gathered, whispers flying like sparks. "What happened?" someone asked. "This man," Peter said, his voice steady with fury, "molested my daughter." Gasps. Shouts. Anger surged through the people like a wave. Peter marched straight to the king's palace. The guards, seeing the fury in his eyes, stepped aside. Inside, the king listened in grave silence. When Peter finished speaking, the king stood. "This evil cannot go unpunished." He ordered the guards to seize Mr. Frank. They beat him, then threw him into the deepest dungeon of the palace. Word spread. The people of Oti rallied around Joy and her father. They brought food, gifts, and kindness. But Peter's heart was not yet at peace. He turned to face Linda, the woman who had ignored her daughter's cries. When he found her, she was dressing for another party, humming to herself as if the world was normal. "Linda," he said, voice low and dangerous. She turned. "Peter. Why are you shouting?" Peter's fury exploded. "While your daughter suffered, you painted your face. While a man hurt her under your roof, you danced at parties." He dragged her into the street. The townspeople listened as Peter revealed all, how Joy had tried to tell her mother, how she had been pushed aside, ignored, dismissed. "She failed her," Peter said. "She failed us all." The people, who had come in support, now turned on Linda. They shouted, they threw rotten fruit, and finally, the king's guards escorted her out of town. "You are no mother," Peter said. "Leave." And so, Linda walked into the night, alone, her glittering world shattered. Back home, the house was quieter. But this time, it felt safe. Peter wrapped Joy in his arms. "I'm here now, my princess," he whispered. "No one will ever hurt you again." In the months that followed, Joy slowly healed. With her father's love and the support of the community, she began to laugh again. Her light returned, and the darkness faded. She worked hard in school, determined to rise above her past. The town of Oti embraced her as one of their own. Her story became a legend, not of pain, but of resilience. Of a father's love. Of a community that chose to stand with the wounded, not the wicked. And every morning, when the sun rose over Oti, Joy smiled. She was no longer just a child. She was a survivor. A fighter. And above all, she was free.